mid-season awards and rest of season predictions. So we're gonna write out our predictions, well, I guess not predictions, but our mid-season awards for MVP, Offensive and Defensive Player of the Year, Rookies of the Year, and so on and so forth. And then make some predictions for the playoff teams. As always, we have our trusty notebook here. So we'll open to a fresh page and get started. If anyone watching this follows college football at all, I was just watching the UConn Liberty game, and UConn just won their 6th game of the year, making them bowl eligible for the first time since 2015. Pretty amazing story they are after being one of the worst, if not the worst, team in college football for the past 6 or so years. Jim Mora has made a big difference as head coach there. So we are going to start our awards with MVP. A couple good candidates for MVP here. There's Josh Allen of the Bills, quarterback, Jalen Hurts, quarterback of the Eagles, and Patrick Mahomes, quarterback of the Chiefs. All very good options here, but I am gonna go with Josh Allen so far as my MVP pick. I think it's between him and Patrick Mahomes. His elbow injury could cause some issues with this. Hopefully that doesn't keep him out. You want to say at all, but if at all, not too long. He's led the team to some big victories. I mean, they've already beat the Chiefs, they beat the Ravens, they beat the Titans. So wins over teams that look like they're going to be playoff teams. He beat Patrick Mahomes head to head. So I gotta give the edge to Josh Allen for the moment here. Next is the Offensive Player of the Year. It's funny how you can give MVP to an offensive player, but then a different player wins Offensive Player of the Year. I always found it confusing how those two awards work. You would think if the MVP is an offensive player, they would also win Offensive Player of the Year. But it doesn't work like that. So, Offensive Player of the Year is going to go to Tyreek Hill. Derrick Henry might be a little bit close to him, but I think it's far and away Tyreek Hill at this point. He is on pace for like 2,100 receiving yards, which would be the NFL record, I believe. Granted, there is an extra week now, but still, he's on a tear. He gets like 7. You hear, if you watch my prediction videos, you know every week that Tyreek Hill leads the game in receiving yards. He gets like 8 catches a game, 100 to 150 yards every game, a touchdown or 2. He has been a game changer for the Dolphins offense and Tua Tagovailoa, and was worth every penny they paid for him or traded for him. Next, we're going to go to Defensive Player of the Year. And for Defensive Player of the Judon is he's a little close behind Parsons. As a Patriots fan, I know I watch Judon wreak havoc in the backfield almost every single game. He pretty much lives behind the line of scrimmage, making tackles for loss and sacks and big plays and all that. But I'm going to give it to Parsons. He can line up pretty much wherever on the defensive side of the ball, plays D-end and linebacker. He's also always in the backfield disrupting plays, forcing fumbles, scoring off of those fumbles, sacks, quarterback hits. He does it all. He's got the speed, he has the strength, he has the finesse moves to get by linemen and get to the quarterback. And he is a game changer for the Dallas defense. Next is Offensive Rookie of the Year. I would have given this to Breece Hall just a few weeks ago had he not torn his ACL, but obviously he now is out for the season. And a new contender has emerged as, I believe, a frontrunner here. And that is Kenneth Walker of the Seattle Seahawks, the rookie running back. He has been just tearing it up ever since he started getting consistent carries there in Seattle. He and along with Geno Smith, I believe, a good offense needs a good running game. So when Kenneth Walker is able to, rack up 100, 150, 200 yards a game, it eases the burden on Geno Smith and the rest of the offense. And he's been able to do just that. He's consistently up there, north of 100 rushing yards a game. And he has been a game changer for the Seattle offense this year. A big reason why they are 6-3. Next is Defensive Rookie of the Year. I feel like this one is pretty obvious, and that is going to be Ahmad Sauce Gardner, cornerback of the New York Jets. Pains me to say this as a Patriots fan, but he is already one of the best cornerbacks in the league and will probably be one of the best corners in the league for several years to come. He is just a lockdown defender, especially in man-to-man situations. I think he's given up an absurdly low number of yards in man-to-man situations this year, like 30 or something, and it's against elite receivers too. He guards the number one receiver. So, guys like Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown, guys like that he's guarding, and they just can't do anything against him. And man, I don't think he's let up a man-to-man touchdown yet either. A stat he has carried over from his college days at Cincinnati. No man-to-man touchdowns allowed. So I think Sauce Gardner is easily Defensive Rookie of the Year at this point. Tariq Woolen is also having a good year for the Seahawks, but I think Sauce is just too locked down. Next is Comeback Player of the Year. A few decent shouts for this award. There's Saquon Barkley of the Giants. He kind of slowed down. He's had a little up and down. He's had some really monster games and some pretty mediocre games. But he's a big reason why the Giants are 6-2. Then you have Derrick Henry, of course, getting injured last year, and he's maybe playing some of the best football of his career at this point too. But I am going to give this award to Geno Smith, quarterback of the Seahawks. After they traded Russell Wilson, a lot of people thought that they were just tanking, getting some draft picks. They would, do pretty poorly, get like 4 or so wins, get a top 5 pick, and draft the quarterback. But Geno Smith has taken over the job and has done almost a better job than Russell Wilson did in Seattle. Again, leading them to 6-3. There's more parts to that. Like I said, Kenneth Walker has been a big part of that. Tariq Woolen has been a defensive stud, and their defensive end, Uwosu, has also been a stud on defense. So it's not just Geno Smith, but he has played exceptionally well, a lot better than people expected. So I'm going to give this award to Geno Smith for Comeback Player of the Year. And our last award here is Coach of the Year. And I think this award has to go to Nick Sirianni of the Eagles. They're undefeated right now, so it's kind of hard not to give the guy the award. They haven't lost a game yet. Brian Daboll of the Giants would be my only near competitor, I think, in this award, leading the Giants to 6-2. But Nick Sirianni of the Eagles, I think, is the clear-cut favorite right now to win this award. Okay, and now it is time for the playoff predictions. We'll get our AFC and NFC here. Whoops. So we'll start with our division winners. In the AFC South, I am going with the Titans. I think a pretty obvious choice there. Currently in the lead in the South, and I don't see any of the teams behind them catching up. Colts, Jaguars, Texans are all pretty bad teams again this year. Colts have a whole lot of issues. They don't know who their quarterback is. Just hired a new coach. Darius Leonard was just placed on IR again, so he'll be out for at least 4 games. Jonathan Taylor's consistently hurt. I think Titans run away with this division, and none of the other teams make the playoffs. Next up, we'll go with the AFC East. And the winner of the AFC East will be the Buffalo Bills, I think. I think the Bills are still the best team in the league. Of course, their status is a little in question with Josh Allen's potential injury. We'll have to see how long that keeps him out. That could put some, taint their record a little bit if he misses a couple games, and they might not win the AFC East. They'll make the playoffs at least, but I still think the Bills will win the East. I think they're the best all-around team. To the AFC North, I think the Ravens hold on to the lead in the North. It's between them and the Bengals right now, and the Bengals have a much harder schedule the rest of the way than the Ravens do. Ravens have kind of an easy schedule left, and so I think they're going to hold on to the lead over the Bengals. And then the AFC West. We'll go with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's hard to doubt the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, potential MVP winner. I know I kind of snubbed him in my midseason picks, but he might be the favorite for MVP right now. Yeah, and I don't think there's any reason why the Chiefs shouldn't hold on to this lead. The Chargers might be on their tail a little bit, but I don't think they'll catch them. The wild card teams. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins as one of the wild card teams. I wouldn't be terribly surprised, especially if Allen misses a few games, if the Dolphins win the AFC East. Their defense could use some work, but their offense is pretty much unstoppable, as I mentioned with Tyreek Hill, Offensive Player of the Year. So yeah, I think Dolphins will make the playoffs as a wild card team. And then it's pretty close with the Chargers and Bengals. I'm going to take the Bengals as another wild card team coming out of the North. I think they'll finish a couple games behind the Ravens, but still make it. And then the last team in the wild card spot, as I just mentioned, a toss-up, it should be pretty obvious. I'm going to go with the Chargers, making it out of the West. Unfortunately, I don't have my Patriots in here. I don't think they have the offensive firepower to make the playoffs this year, unfortunately. But yeah, so these are my AFC playoff predictions as of the middle of the season. Now we'll move on to the NFC, and we'll start again with the South. I'm gonna go with the Bucks. This is maybe the worst division in football, or at least the worst looking division in football. No team is over 500, but I mean the Bucks, talent-wise, should be the best team, and it's hard to doubt Tom Brady. So I'm gonna take the Bucks. The Falcons might be within a game or two at the end of the year, but other than that, I mean the Saints and Panthers aren't gonna be sniffing the playoffs, so we'll go Bucks here to win the division. And then over to the East, we have the undefeated Eagles. Don't think they're gonna go undefeated, but they will maybe have like 2 losses. Still a fantastic year. I think the Giants regress a little bit from their 6-2, and I don't think the Cowboys catch the Eagles, so we'll go Eagles here. NFC East champs, pretty easy pick. And then over to the North, another pretty easy pick here. We'll go Vikings. Packers, Lions, and Bears, all under 500, I believe. Vikings 7-1. They should win this one pretty handedly. And then the NFC West. I'm going with the 49ers here. They're 4-4 behind the Seahawks, but I think they're able to make a comeback in this division and win it, especially with Christian McCaffrey now on their team. So those are my 4 division winners for the NFC. The wild card teams will go with the Cowboys. They would probably win the South and the West, but they're going to be behind the Eagles in the East, unfortunately. The Eagles will probably have 14 or 13 wins, and the Cowboys, might end up with like 11 or 12, but they're going to be the first wild card team, unfortunately stuck behind the Eagles. Next up, we'll go with the Seahawks. Pretty good good story for the Seahawks if they're able to make the playoffs with Geno Smith here. I think they'll be able to squeeze out a wild card spot. As I said, they'll lose the division to the Niners, but they'll be good enough to make the playoffs, especially with 3 wild card teams now. And the last wild card spot is pretty interesting. The Giants already have 6 wins. I'm going to give it to them. Although I could see a team like maybe the Rams making a big surge at the end of the season and pushing for a playoff spot at the end of the year. But I think the Giants have set themselves up wonderfully in the middle of the season to grab that final wild card spot, which is pretty impressive since I think a lot of people were considering them one of the worst teams in the league going into the year. So it'd be a good story if they make the playoffs. And looking at this, I've seen a couple of tweets that were pretty funny about how Tom Brady is going to sneak into the playoffs winning the division with like 9 wins and then play Geno Smith or Daniel Jones in the first round of the playoffs and then play like Jimmy Garoppolo in the second round and then, like Kirk Cousins in the NFC Championship and make another Super Bowl playing quarterbacks that, you never thought you would see in the playoffs starting a game. So I thought that was pretty funny. Tom Brady is inevitable, but we'll see how that all plays out in a few months' time. For now, these are my playoff predictions. Let me know, playoff and award predictions. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree with my predictions, where you think I went wrong, and maybe if you think there are any surprise teams that could make a run, like the Rams making a run at either their division or a wild card spot or something like that. The Rams or maybe the Bears with Justin Fields' resurgence here. Yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. I appreciate you watching as always, and again, thank you all for all the great support I've been receiving recently. I really appreciate that. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.